Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you the differences between regular sulphite paper, which is the construction paper or drawing paper, and also a 90-pound school-grade watercolor paper. And I just went ahead and drew a picture of a sunflower on the watercolor paper, and I'll probably just do the same, just for the example purposes for this lesson. The whole idea for this video is to help you decide which paper to use for your watercolor project. Just because you have watercolors doesn't mean you necessarily have to have watercolor paper. Using regular sulphite paper works great for some cases. I have this art project that we did in kindergarten class, and I had one class use watercolor paper, again, a 90-pound school grade, and then also the sulphite paper. Now this was my example, and we simply just outlined the drawing with black, and then we filled it in with liquid watercolors, which is different than what I'm going to show you. And you can see that the difference isn't huge. So for a project like this is pretty intense, and so is this. It kind of depends on how strong you want to make your watercolor paints. But for a project like this, I would probably just use the sulphite paper because it is so much cheaper. And the differences for the project is not all that much. However, when you do a project like a flower, when you want to achieve a lot of blending using wet on wet techniques, maybe a little bit of the salt techniques, you definitely want to use watercolor paper. So I'm going to demonstrate just how they apply to both. So I have my paints, and I'm going to start with a little bit of orange here. And the whole beauty of the watercolor paper is that the paints just glide across the paper and find those little pockets to sink into. So with this paper, the paint doesn't necessarily glide over. It soaks in really quickly, and immediately you can see the difference. The paint is soaking into the paper, and it's not sitting on top, which creates a lot of these shadows. But for elementary school children, that might be fine if you just want to apply a color like you did with the watercolor castles. You just want to get the effect of color, perhaps use an oil pastel resist. But look at this one. Now at this point you can start blending other colors in. Maybe that wasn't the best choice. How about this yellow? You can add a little bit, yeah, that's nice, a little bit extra colors to create a little bit more depth. Maybe if you want to have a little bit more fun, you can go for a darker color. And you can't blend as well with the sulphite paper. It's going to sit on top. So you can see the difference already, that the blending here is very separate, and the blending here is beautiful. You can even have some fun with the kids and, you know, move the little puddle of water around just by tilting the paper. So if you have only watercolor paper, or rather construction paper, that's fine, but don't expect to achieve a lot of the techniques that you want to achieve with watercolor. It does not blend well. But if the benefit of using the sulphite paper and watercolor, it can be a really fast application.